The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk in partnership with thechairshot.com, presented by the Hitting the Marks Podcast Network and in association with NDPW.com. Turnbuckle Talk is sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast. Turnbuckle Talk is also partnered with Phoenix at FNXFit.com, where you get 15% off all your health supplements simply by using promo code TBTalkPod. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TB Talk Pod. Listen on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you catch your favorite programs. And now, pro wrestling fanatics, are you ready? Here are your hosts, Mighty Joe Morin and Karl Karufel.
That's right, everybody. I am Karl Karufel, alongside, as always, this guy over there, Mighty Joe Morin. And Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Already our first comment on this broadcast.
That didn't take long this week.
Turnbuckle Talk 206. Wow.
Yeah, man, 206 episodes. It's a bit of a surreal number, eh?
It definitely is. I mean, I thought 200 was great, freaking fantastic, but 206, I mean, we just keep on rolling, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see how long we can keep rolling. I mean, for now, it looks like we're pretty good here. Here in Southern Ontario, where I'm at, we're on the cusp of a huge winter storm rolling through. So while the weather is still decent, we'll be able to get our show in here. But yeah, we've got some significant weather coming our way. Not looking forward to the snow. As a child, as a kid, Karl, winter was fun. But as an adult, I freaking hate winter.
Oh, you know what? Me too. We've had some, we've been pretty good with our winter so far here in Northern Ontario, Canada. Normally, it's like minus 30 degrees and lots of snow. And there really hasn't been a lot of snow this year, thankfully. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just super happy with that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, let's shift and let's get over into our wrestling discussion here. And I guess to kind of kick things off here, I'll start with a question here, Karl.
Okay.
Seeing to kind of kick things off here with this topic, how's your hole feeling this week?
My hole is just fine.
Oh, man. You wanted to talk to just something that's gone viral. And I mean, even with our friends over at Love Wrestling, we've kind of latched on to that train, and this deal with Nia Jax and whatnot, Karl. What are your thoughts about this?
You know what? I know that you don't watch a lot of the WWE product, I just have to mention to you that on SmackDown, they still ran with this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they took this whole clip and they put it into a storyline. Mm-hmm. So because of this, because of the capitalization that they are using on this, I'm kind of okay with it. Oh. If they were to have just left it as just a meme that everybody's putting out there, I don't think that it would have been a little weird, right? But because it's storyline now, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah. Strangely enough, I mean, who would have thought? I mean, even she's got to be thinking after everything that's transpired, all the causing injuries and all the other kind of stuff she's done, that this would be the thing to actually get over. I mean, pretty crazy to say the very least. I mean, what's next? Shirts? I don't think so, right?
Mick Foley apparently thinks so. Mick Foley went to Twitter and actually put out there that my hole will be the new Austin 316 of this era. Book it and put it onto T-shirts, he says. So, who knows? Who knows? I mean, the WWE went and made all of this merchandise for Sad Bad Bunny, whatever. Latin superstar. Now, don't get me wrong. The guy is a phenomenal Latin superstar. Very famous.
Yeah.
He's a very famous.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, he definitely is. And they made merchandise for that. So why not make something that says, ow, my hole?
I mean, this wasn't the only thing here, Karl. Now, because to peel back the curtain a little bit with this week's episode here, you came up with the entire run for this week's episode.
Yes.
And with this topic...
I became the curator of topics this week.
Absolutely. And this wasn't the only thing that went viral here. Now, Karl, I have the audio for the other thing. Do we want to play it? Can I play it? I have it queued up.
Let's hope that it doesn't copyright on us.
Well, it's just the audio. We're not playing video, so I think we'll be okay because no real. The company doesn't get mentioned, so you know what?
Okay, let's give it a go then.
Let's give it a whirl. Let me make sure that it plays, and here we go.
DP, I like that.
Yeah.
DP.
Yeah. That ain't free.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I like it. It's a nice ring to it. DP.
Oh, it's easy. She get confused sometimes.
No. DP.
So that's one thing with these players that are embedded into sites that they tend to automatically play. Something for web designers out there, stop it with that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Charley Caruso talking to Damian Priest and, of course,
good old R-Truth.
R-Truth, yeah, his name kind of escaped me briefly. Do these people listen to themselves when they're talking, Karl?
You know what? That was what, from a Talking Smack? Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm assuming so. Yeah.
On that show, I mean, it since its inception, it's really seemed to be a very off the cuff, just go with it, go with the flow type of setting, which I personally am okay with. I like that. I like that idea. Let them just kind of go out there and not have to worry about being scripted and just kind of be them and allow them to, if they need to, develop character and get themselves over and whatever. So, and I think that this wasn't anything that was actually planned. This was just Charley Caruso just talking and kind of going, DP. That has a nice ring to it, and then unfortunately following it up with I like DP. Yeah, so we keep things a little clean here on this show. If you don't know what DP is, Google. But be forewarned.
Check carefully.
It's a sexual thing. Okay, that's all we'll say.
You may just want to read whatever the definition is. I say tread carefully by clicking on the images tab on your Google results and just be prepared to be shocked.
Do not click on images. Just go to Urban Dictionary, urbandictionary.com. That'll be enough for you.
Yeah, there's several ways that you can approach that. Like I said, just overall tread carefully. You may be in for a shocker. To say the very least.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I just had an unintentional pun there, Karl.
Yep.
But just some interesting stuff there. I mean, cool and kind of comedic in some respects, but at the time, we need to tread carefully with this too, because they can be real momentum killers for some of these talents. Like especially, I think Damian Priest, especially I think back to his time in Ring of Honor's Punishment Martinez, he was this big, imposing individual. And then after doing that, then you have somebody just kind of in this kind of environment, it can kind of compromise things a little bit. So in that respect too, I would say tread very carefully because you can ruin your business with these kind of segments.
You definitely can. You definitely can.
Absolutely. All right, well, going from that to talking about partnerships in professional wrestling, I think that this must have largely stemmed from last week when we talked to our friend Miss Kim Arlip down in Florida, and talking about partnerships with smaller companies. Now, I think, but before we kind of get into that aspect of things here, Karl, I think it's important to kind of look at this partnership that's been going with AEW, Impact, and New Japan right now. It seems to be kind of going between those three. But an interesting thing has kind of happened here, Karl, and I don't know if you've picked up on this, but I definitely have. that this partnership, I think that the idea here was for it to be kind of mutually beneficial between all three companies here. But strangely enough, because believe it or not, I believe it's AEW that's kind of initiated this move, and they seem to be the one that's been the most damaged by it here, Karl, because people seemingly are going to watching Impact and New Japan after seeing these people in AEW, and then that product is being forgotten about. So it's this double-edged sword of, co-promoting, and it can be a good thing, not only just on that, but in kind of any platform. Even in podcasting, sometimes it can kind of happen of where, you start promoting and cross-promoting too much, and then your own product then suffers because people are going elsewhere. And I think that's a bit of a byproduct of what's happening here.
It's interesting that you see that because I'm not seeing that at all.
Okay.
I mean, we're still seeing really good numbers for AEW Dynamite. AEW Dark still as well gets a phenomenal amount of views on YouTube. For those of you that don't know, AEW Dark on Tuesdays, they go and put a new episode up with usually 12 to 14 matches.
That's
within a like 2 hour period, which is a lot, but super fantastic. I don't see it as being anything that's been detrimental or hurting All Elite Wrestling at this point anyways. Can it get to that? Yeah, it probably can, considering that AEW seems to be taking their bigger stars and letting them go over to these other companies, right? And then if you're taking your stars and putting them somewhere else, well, the people are going to go and watch them where they are, right? As opposed to watching them in the company that they're from. So I totally get where you're coming from. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because we've run into that with the podcast game too, and also back over with this here, Karl. We saw a little bit of it recently with Sammy Guevara going over to Impact, and then I guess something happened. He didn't like what the match was going to be or whatever the booking decision was, and something happened there, and then now there's some heat between AEW and Impact. So these partnerships can be good, but I mean, sometimes, Karl, just people are going to clash and things are going to go kind of funky. That seems to be that. I mean, I don't know all the details here of going on, but I mean, there was some funky business that kind of happened here, and basically, I don't know whether it was Sammy that just said "screw you guys" or Impact just said, we're not going to use you, or so we've kind of muddied the waters a little bit.
So there really isn't right now any heat between the two companies. They kind of have worked things out. But essentially what happened is, so Sammy was quote unquote written off of AEW, and he was going to be going over and doing some work in Impact. So Impact had given him booking, flight, everything for the day before so that they could go through story. They could go through everything that's going to be happening. Sammy Guevara took it upon himself to reschedule his flight and arrival so that he would have been arriving at the building to tape with only about an hour and a half's time to spare, as opposed to the full day and a half that they had given him with the previous plane ticket and arrival time. So that's what's happened. Yes, there was a little bit of Impact going, are you serious right now? And AEW going, hold tight. We're going to take care of this.
Yeah,
so
interesting, to say the least. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully this doesn't cause any actual damage or not, or I feel like maybe some trust was broken there, but yeah, kind of a weird situation there. And hopefully that doesn't.
I don't think that there would be any trust broken or anything like that. I mean, business is business. Yeah, and they're both companies that understand that.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, okay, this is business that happened, and business was sour for a moment. You've said that you're going to take care of your employee, that reprimandations are going to happen. And Impact is going, all right, we're gonna allow this. We're gonna let you do what you got to do, right? So, I mean, that's all it is. They understand business is business.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the other two companies that you had mentioned in the topic here, Karl, OVW and MLW especially, are a couple that I want to talk about. And when it comes to partnerships, honestly, with those two companies, I think they're kind of just doing fine the way that they're going right now here. I think that, especially OVW, I think no point in rocking the boat if you don't need to at this point. I mean, the formula they have seems to be working. For other partnerships, I'd say just hold off for the time being, because honestly, I think especially OVW, I think they're doing just fine the way they are.
And you know what? I'm feeling the exact same way. My intention with this part of the broadcast was more, do we feel that this opens up the opportunity for these companies, if they so choose or want, for them to be able to maybe reach out to like an Impact and say, we'd love to work with you as well, or reach out to AEW and say, listen, we really want to take down the conglomerate. We do too. Let's all come aboard together and let's see what we can do. On the flip side of that, though, this starts to become an issue of too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to have AEW, Impact, New Japan, and now all of the writers, bookers, and heads of the companies, well, you've now just tripled all of those people. Now, where's the decisions going to come from? Right? In a situation like this, I think we really need to kind of flip things around a little bit and go to a one governing body where decisions go through, right? So, and it's not just one person that is going to go through. We're looking at a collection of people, so a board of people that the final decision goes to. So these three companies are all going to take their ideas, put them together. If they can't come to an agreement, then they're going to bring it to the board, who then makes the final decision.
Yeah, because again, you had mentioned trying to take down the conglomerate, which I'm assuming you're talking about WWE. I still think that mindset is a mistake, because you're not going to take down the WWE. I don't care if it's every single mid-level promotion banding together. It's not going to happen. And then just the more if that something like that were to even be attempted, I mean, I don't know if I want to piss off Vince at this point with that, right? Because I mean, what he may do then is just like back in the old days, he's just going to go around, he's going to poach every single talent that he can, he'll throw whatever money he can at them to get everybody. You're talking your Jacob Fatu's, your everybody, and just I'm just going to take everybody down, screw you guys, because that's the danger that I fear if they try and topple the giant. Like I said before, you can be Pepsi, you don't need to be Coke.
Exactly. No, very much so.
Right.
We've got several watchers that are there right now. Feel free, guys, if you're listening and you hear something that you want to get some of your input in there as well, always drop a comment. It's going to show up for us on our sidebar as a comment, and the first one that came through, I'll just put it up, and this is what it looks like, guys. It'll have your name, your comment, and we can definitely put that up for you and talk as well.
Yep. If you guys have topics and stuff that are just kind of on the fly, you post it, we can definitely even talk about them as well. So always cool to get some interaction with you guys that are watching. So again,
definitely,
like Karl said, feel free to throw some comments in there. All right, going from that, Karl, to something that's kind of somewhat kind of tied into the previous topic as well. Talking about companies relying too much on older household names and talent here, Karl. This is an interesting topic and something that we've touched on before as well, but I'm glad that you threw this on the run. I'll start with you on this here, Karl. What do you think? I think on the WWE side of things, I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's clearly what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't even just say the WWE with this. I mean, I even take a look at, for those of you that don't know, I have for many, many years been a supporter of TNA Impact Wrestling. Oh. I've always wanted to see them succeed, and I continue to love what they do. But even them, okay, so Rhino.
They did a lot of it.
Rhino, who's currently there, an older name talent. Yeah. Ken Shamrock, okay, Tommy Dreamer, still there working, right? with the WWE. I mean, you're looking at like Goldberg, Edge, like these names that are coming in and continuing to work. I mean, it's really difficult for me to now connect with that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love some nostalgia once in a while, right? But it's being used way too much, relying way too much on the older talent coming in, that your younger talent are going to start to go, obviously the company doesn't care about me. Obviously the company doesn't want my work to be here because, well, they just keep going back to these old guys, right?
And we do see that come up quite a bit, whether it be posts on social media or even on these Talking Smack kind of programs, or all these opinions kind of get voiced. But the issue is kind of double pronged here, Karl. First of all, these bigger companies, especially you'd mentioned, WWE and Impact, is they're afraid to build anything other than just regular superstars. With megastars, they feel that they can't, because if something happens, then you're kind of screwed. Like we talked to our friend Kim Arlip. One of the reasons why she doesn't run storylines is because of the risks of injury and whatnot. And something happens, and your storyline is screwed, right? Yes. So that's just that blown up to higher levels. And then of course you have the other thing too, that it's not really, when these older talents come back that have been really over for a number of years, it's not necessarily their fault that they're still more over than these younger guys. Because like I said, if you're not getting over, then you're not trying hard enough, right? It's not Edge's fault that he still gets over when he's face to face with Karrion Kross and kills it on a promo. That's not his fault. He's just being Edge. If you guys can't match up to that level, that's your own fault.
Well, I mean, in that respect, okay, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But in that respect, okay, the WWE Universe has had, 20 plus years to know Edge.
Yeah.
To hear his promos. To become a fan.
Mm-hmm.
The WWE Universe has had, maybe 2 years at the most for Karrion Kross?
Not even.
Now, keep in mind, again, a lot of the WWE viewers don't watch other programs.
Still.
So Karrion Kross coming in, they wouldn't know that he was named Killer Kross in other promotions.
Yeah.
So they would never have seen him before. So they've got 20 years of Edge, 2 years max with Karrion Kross. Of course, people are going to gravitate a little bit more towards Edge because it's a safety. It's what they're used to. It's what they understand and what they know and what they like. So, I don't know. That's just that's my little take on that. Yeah. I think it's just a I don't even know how to put it. It's a comfort thing, right? It's a comfort thing.
Yeah, for sure. But there are some times where that trend gets bucked. We had mentioned Karrion Kross. I mean, he has immediately gotten over with that NXT audience. And I'm not sure necessarily about the mainstream WWE audience. I think that audience is very divided. There's your SmackDown and your Raw fans, and then there's your NXT fans, and then there are some that are watching both programs. But I mean, he's an example of somebody they hit kind of lightning in a ball, and having Scarlett with them doesn't hurt as well. And I'm just being consistent with the character, saying TikTok, after he's kind of in the guy's face, and they've been very good in building that up. But yeah, I mean, there's some, I know that, we can get into that whole brass ring topic here of dangling, here, come and get the brass ring. And I suppose he doesn't imagine it. You're always restricted by a creative. But I mean, at the same time, too, you do have to take the ball and try and run with it a little bit as well. So just always kind of blaming creative. It's not necessarily a cop-out, but I think too many of them just say, oh, well, I'm stuck only with what they give me. I'm sure that they have a little bit more leeway than that.
Yes.
So
I'm going to put this up here. not to make fun of or call out, but I think you're meaning was it Lacey Evans, not Lacey Von Erich.
Yeah.
Lacey Von Erich actually retired in 2010 and has not really done anything in the world of professional wrestling since.
A long time, yeah.
But we're talking Lacey Evans, the Southern Belle. Yeah, you're right. Substantial improvement has come from her time being able to work with other talent in the ring. Be able to, and it's really nice for a lot of them. They have that friendship with multiple people within the company, whether they're seasoned talent or whether they're green talent. It doesn't matter. They can have that really nice friendship and be able to talk about things and be able to really figure things out. And a lot of them will even go and work out together, or they'll go to the PC and they will go into the ring and just work stuff out. And because of that, because of the camaraderie between everyone within the company, they really help build each other up. And I think that is where it really, her turnaround really comes from. No problem at all. But you totally understand. I've messed up too. So
for myself, when it comes to Lacey Evans, I think she's definitely improved in that. In when it comes to the character, some more time in the performance. There's obviously having Rick right now with her definitely helps. When it comes to the in-ring work stuff here, I still think that she has a long ways to kind of go. She's definitely somebody that still relies on the other person to kind of carry the match. She is not what would be considered as a ring general, not anywhere near yet. She still relies on the other person. Could she get to that point? Sure, but for right now, it's still a work in progress. But I will agree, she is definitely further than where she was, but she still needs a lot of work. She still needs to smooth out those rough edges there. But there's some potential there. I'd like to see a little bit more tweaks to the character. I think too much of that Southern Belle type of pin-up model type of look, I think, is a little outdated. Quite frankly, I don't think too many people can relate to it, especially with a more of a modern audience. But hey, it's still a work in progress. I'm not ready to give up on her just yet.
I definitely am not as well. You talk about the whole pin-up, World War II type of style that she has there. That gravitates for me.
Yeah.
Right? As a little bit of an older guy, I'm 40. I'll be 40 this year. Okay.
I'm older than him. Just put in, just a reminder, I'm actually older than Karl.
So I mean, being 40, right? I've seen those. I myself, I like older things anyways, right? So yeah, I'm okay with that entire thing. And I think that's kind of what they're trying to go with. And then you pair her up with Ric Flair, an older guy who would understand back in World War Jesus.
Right, yeah.
You're right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I think that works really well. What's Ryan got here?
I'm going to throw this one your way here, Karl, because of a name that came up there, because I know you've had some experiences with this gentleman. Ryan saying, speaking of future stars, what do you guys think about the news that Rick Steiner's son has signed with the WWE? I'm going to throw that your way, Karl. What do you think?
I absolutely love it. I have worked with Rick Steiner before over the years, and he was nothing but a professional with absolutely everything that he did, whether it was inside of the ring or whether it was backstage or whether it was sitting there talking with the boys and talking with the girls, and just being a wealth of knowledge for anyone that wanted to approach him and talk to him. He was like a teddy bear, dude. he literally, like, anybody could walk up to him and it would just be, hey brother, how's it going? Let's sit down and talk for a minute. Who are you? What's your name? Where are you from? And what are you looking to do? Where are you looking to go in this business? What do you want to do with the rest of your life after the business is another question that he would ask as well. So I think having that knowledge, he definitely would have passed that down to his son, and I'm super happy with it. Rick's son looks like a beast. He's jacked just like his dad and uncle. Yeah, he definitely is. And I think, again, Ryan, that's going back to Rick's mindset of, if you want to get into this business, here's what you have to do. And if you want it, you're going to go and get it. Right. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. I think this whole thing really comes back to Rick and his professionalism and him being just amazing at not only being a professional wrestler, but amazing at being a person and a teacher as well.
On kind of the lighter side of things here, Karl, I hope that when it comes to the numbers and the mathematics, hopefully he learned more from his dad than his uncle.
Right.
So if he learned his math from Scotty, man, that might be interesting to say the very least here, Karl. But going from that, of course, love the interactions. Seems like as soon as we asked for it, it happened out of the blue. So that was very cool. To our next topic here, this was when you were up the run. This is the one I was kind of looking forward to the most here, Karl. Of our current top 5 favorite wrestling talents out there. I have a really interesting list, and I'm sure you do too. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first, because you had messaged me earlier and said, "Do you want to know?" And I knew that you were just itching to tell somebody, and I was like, "No, no, you're gonna wait." So I'm gonna allow you to go first because I know you're itching to get it out.
For sure. Do you want to go 5 and then go to 1, or just go 1 to 5?
Mine are in no particular order. I really don't have any order for them. My top 5.
Yeah. I have them actually ranked in order. So maybe I'll start with 5 and then go to 1. In the number 5 spot right now, I have Serena Deeb at my number 5 spot. I think right now the second best women's wrestler in professional wrestling right now. At number 4, this may be a surprise to you, Karl, and to our listeners, is actually coming from MLW, and I'm talking their current World Heavyweight Champion, Jacob Fatu. He is somebody that I think a lot of people aren't aware of and are sleeping on, and you shouldn't be. I mean, this guy... he's almost kind of a throwback, Karl, to that Samoan type of character with a little bit of the aerial stuff, but he very much wrestles like a big man. I really appreciate that. At the number 3 spot from over New Japan Pro Wrestling, I have Kazuchika Okada at the number 3 spot. Still one of the best in the world, even though his submission move, the money clip, I think leaves a lot to be desired. Just Rainmaker the people. Don't use that money clip. Just Rainmaker those, what's.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have the best, in my opinion, the best women wrestler on the planet right now. I have Thunder Rosa at number 2. And at the number 1 spot, going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, for me right now, I think the best professional wrestler in the business right now is Mr. Jay White. Arguably, I think working the heel character better than anybody right now. Still killing it. That's my list, Karl.
Definitely is. Definitely. I think I might actually have mine listed from like best to 5th.
Okay.
So I'll start at the bottom of my list here. Otis.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Within my top 5, Otis, dude. Wow. I love that he is a big guy, can move in that ring, can have a little bit of comedy act to him, and still make things look good and fun, because that's what professional wrestling should be. Fun.
Yeah.
Right? Going up my list from there, Kenny Omega. Canadian boy. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I am very happy that Kenny Omega had made my list.
Yeah.
Number 3, no surprise to people, Alexa Bliss. I absolutely adore everything Alexa Bliss, from her beginnings in NXT all the way up to this current character and gimmick that she is running with The Fiend. Love it. Going from there, Mr. Eddie Edwards.
Good choice.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah,
Definitely
I mean, the guy has been a just staple when it comes to professional wrestling over the years. No matter what company he's been in, no matter what type of tag team or singles run that he has had, he has killed it absolutely everywhere, and I am super happy about that. And my number 1 right now, I guess you can kind of say maybe a New Japan star.
Okay.
Jon Moxley.
Okay.
Yes, and I say New Japan star because, well, is he not holding the U.S. belt right now?
Yep, he's kind of got it held hostage for the time being, but yeah.
Yeah, so a New Japan star thrown in there. I don't watch a lot of New Japan. I should definitely start watching a little bit more. I might have to actually subscribe to to the New Japan Network so that I can watch more of it. But yeah, there's my top 5, guys. So you got Big Joe's top, or Mighty Joe's top 5, and you got my top 5. What we want you guys to do is, if you were listening to this broadcast afterwards, I want you to go to our Facebook page at TB Talk Pod, and underneath the video or underneath the write-up that we'll do for the audio come Tuesday, okay, I want you to leave your top 5 current professional wrestling stars.
For sure. And our lists are very unique, and I think they really kind of reflect, the professional wrestling that we're both kind of watching. I think Karl watches a little bit more WWE than I do, and his list kind of reflects that. Whereas mine, is includes some New Japan and some NWA and stuff like that, which kind of reflects the wrestling that I've been watching recently. So there's no really right or wrong answer. Although I will say that I will make a very, very strong pitch for Miss Thunder Rosa being the best women's wrestler on the planet right now. I dare anybody to tell me different.
I won't. So now, before we move on here, okay, I want you to take this one then.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think here?
Steinerson just got signed with WWE, and Arnson Brock Anderson just made his first appearance. We're getting old, guys. Yes, we are getting old. I mean, I have the gray hairs coming in. I still get pimples for whatever reason. I mean, like whenever I seem to sit in front of a camera, I always get like a zit right in the middle of my forehead. That just always seems to kind of happen. But I mean, I'm getting gray hairs all over the place, man, and so are you.
Yes, I am. Clean your face. Clean your face.
We're getting old, man. We are getting old. All right, dude. I think, you know what? What do we got coming up next here on our run? I think that, why don't we take a brief break. Wow, kind of a bit of a tongue twister. And let's hear from our friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com, and then we'll come back with our Match of the Week segment.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Being a hero in life is far more than words printed on a page. It takes an unwavering code, a compass that points true north always. And in times like these, it takes sacrifice. Hero shouldn't be a word defined by a dictionary. It's a word that should be defined by the best of us. Hero has a new definition.
There he is, Mighty Joe and Karl back here on Turnbuckle Talk. As you saw from our friend Al Snow and collarandelbowbrand.com, if you use promo code JKPodcast at the checkout, you will get 10% off. Not just one thing or 2 things that you buy there, but everything. So go crazy and get 10% off all your purchases there. Javier saying La Mera Thunder Rosa. I'm assuming, does that mean the best? I'm a little rusty on my Spanish, unfortunately. I have a feeling that is probably Spanish.
I think so.
All right, Karl, let us go to our Match of the Week segment. All right, so for our Match of the Week segment here, Karl, what do we want to do? You want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Go first.
I will go first. Mine, strangely enough, this week is coming from WWE, believe it or not. Right, Karl? Actually coming from
Whoa, hold
NXT.
on a second.
Take a minute and breathe.
Wow.
Right? It's actually coming from WWE this week, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But it is coming from NXT. is specifically coming from TakeOver Vengeance Day, which just happened yesterday as of today's recording.
Yes.
We were talking the singles match for the NXT Championship, Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. Absolutely incredible match here, Karl. I thought it went a touch longer than it really kind of needed to, but it was an interesting match because it was really, really technical at the beginning. And then we got into more of like what you would expect from like a usual kind of professional wrestling match. And then after the match, we had some storylines kind of getting further and established. Most notably, Adam Cole not only super kicking Finn Balor, but also, Kyle O'Reilly from the Undisputed Era. So what is going on there? I don't know if Cole is still going to be involved, or if he's going off on his own, what's going on there. And then, we have the added bit here too, that we know that Edge is basically saying that he wanted to take on, the winner of this match. So by the looks of it, we might be having Edge versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship at WrestleMania. That would be really cool. I was kind of hoping for Pete Dunne because the matchup that I really wanted to see was Pete Dunne versus Edge, but I think either one could be fantastic. And then we have Karrion Kross kind of waiting on deck. I mean, it's a really cool, interesting thing going on here.
Yeah, Karrion Kross deep in those shadows, but still just poking his head through a little bit so that he can be seen.
So good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
So good stuff from WWE and NXT TakeOver. As much as I like to kind of shit on the WWE approximate time, I will be the first to give them credit when it is due. They're doing really good with the NXT brand, with a few exceptions. There's a little things that are kind of wonky here and there, but overall, I think that their product there is really good. And this particular match was a real highlight for me for the week.
And just so that everybody knows, we are not time travelers. The NXT takeover happened on Saturday, correct?
No, it was on Sunday.
It was on Sunday?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, my bad then. I thought it happened on the Saturday like it usually does. And you'd said yesterday it happened, and I'm going, wait a second. That's, no. Okay.
It actually happened on Sunday.
Okay.
Yep.
Before I get to my pick for match of the week, here you go. Here's our answer. La Mera Mera is the nickname of the Grim Reaper in Mexico, also known as La Parca. Thunder Rosa's face paint is like what you see on Day of the Dead that celebrates in Mexico.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you very much for that. Up here in Canada, we didn't learn any Spanish, so we learned French.
Yes.
And it was only for a short little period of time. And if we wanted to continue on, we had to find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, my match of the week. Because we had Miss Kim on last week, I decided to start watching again some more Ignite Wrestling and go back and look at a few things that she's done since 2019 and into pandemic season. So I'm going back to January 2020 with Ignite Wrestling Chaos. I absolutely loved watching Avery Taylor versus Holly Cromwell versus Sophie Castillo versus the Dream Girl Ellie. This was a fatal four-way #1 contenders match. And I like this matchup because this was the Dream Girl Ellie's debut match. She's been to Ignite Wrestling before, but this was her debut match, and she won. So very cool. She was able to go on and challenge for the Ignite Wrestling Women's Championship. I have a buddy of mine that I got him hooked onto it as well, and he's been watching it going, I am like just floored by the amount of talent that these people have and how enjoyable it is to watch. This same person had tried watching some WWE SmackDown from this week, and like 15 minutes in was like, I can't do this anymore, and started falling asleep. So yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you that independent professional wrestling is alive and well.
Absolutely. And our friend Javier saying, Ines La Mera Mera also means the best. So it's two meanings. And I think, again, that very much applies to Thunder Rosa, like I said, because I feel that she is the best woman in the business right now. All right, cool. That was a good one, Karl. Of course, another shout out to our friends over at Ignite Wrestling. Check out their website, ignitewrestling.com, and absolutely fantastic stuff going on there. Make sure and check that out. Tons of free content there as well, so you can't really go wrong there at all. All right, man, let us get to some breaking news. All right, so for breaking news this week, I mean, the big one, is already all news. The Nia Jax whole thing, that's beaten to a bloody pulp at this point, so we don't need to cover that. But I guess the two big ones worth mentioning on the WWE side of things when it comes to new signings, we've got Eli Drake and Taya Valkyrie, or I'm not sure what she's going to be called. I'm sure it would be like Taya or something like that. And then LA Knight is what he's going by. Not really feeling the name here, Karl, but his promo and everything, he made an immediate impact, no pun intended. And, he's always been great on the microphone, and looking forward to see what he'll do there. He's no stranger to NXT. He was there briefly before he went back to Impact, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious, and with Taya, she's going to be in NXT as well, and curious to see what she'll do as well. She'll really help just make that even better women's division. So,
and what's fantastic about that as well is that a few podcasts ago we talked about this because we knew that her contract was coming up, and we kind of threw out where we would want her to go and see her do, and I didn't want to see her go to NXT, but given the life situations, I guess. Her husband is there, right? So it only kind of makes sense. And I hope that they use her properly within NXT to build up that division as opposed to tear it down at all, because it's not a bad division. The women's division is not bad. It just needs a limelight focus put onto it to just push it that little bit over the top. I do want to mention here as well for everyone that Ring of Honor's 19th anniversary pay-per-view date has been announced. So we are looking Friday, March 26th at 9 p.m. Ring of Honor's 19th anniversary pay-per-view is going to be taking place. That just came across my news feed, so I'm like, yep, that's it. I just saw it. That means it's breaking news, which I guess a couple hours ago that was really announced. I'm just taking another quick look here to see if there's anything else substantial.
The only one that snuck up for me, Karl, is we had this NXT takeover, and right next week we're gonna have an elimination chamber. So we're going like pay-per-views right back to back. I don't know. Let's talk briefly about it here, Karl. I think we do have a little bit of time to touch on this briefly. How do you feel about the Elimination Chamber right now? Because for me, it was cool for a little while, but I've become a little soured to that particular match because I don't know. It feels so. What's the nicest way I can put it? It feels so rigid. Like it doesn't have a flow of a match. We have too many spots of, somebody's up high. We got to wait for them to kind of collect themselves, and then we're going to catch them type of moments. We have these big spots that always happen. We have this tower where everybody has to be in on the same move. It's so predictable. There's some interesting things that can kind of happen, some interesting matchups, but this match has become like clockwork now, Karl.
You're right, it has. And it's very unfortunate considering it's a gold mine. Like it's amazing. Nowhere else has done anything like this. This is crazy. When the Elimination Chamber first happened, I was super excited and stoked. I still am. I like the original design. I don't like the square design. I like the round design that they had. I kind of get the changes. Okay, I can live with that. But you're right. Everything is just the same as it is in any regular matchup. Very, very rigid, very structured, and It just doesn't make for a good match. I want to see a lot more organic come out of this, especially for it being a pay-per-view. Allow them to go out there and just be organic with things. Don't tell them that they have to hit this, 5 or 6 person spot. They don't have to hit this off the top of the chamber pod onto everybody. Like, okay, I get it. It's cool once in a while, but when it starts happening, every single elimination chamber matchup that happens, it just becomes old hat and something that people don't actually look forward to.
See, for me, it's not so much of the repetition of the spots, which I mean still bothers me to a certain extent. It's that they take so long to kind of unfold. They don't just happen in the flow of the match, or happen kind of quickly. You kind of see it like unfolding, and then you get that moment always with these kind of things where either the person up top or the people below are waiting. Like this is you're not supposed. You shouldn't be standing there waiting during a match. Like we're not taking a rest break out there. I mean, just it's stuff like that drives me absolutely berserk. But I digress on that. I know there's people that still like the Elimination Chamber. But I mean, it happens like clockwork every single year, and it's I know you're a fan of it, Karl, but I mean, it's not what it used to be.
I agree, 100%. I agree. It is not what it used to be. Definitely, it is not. Will I watch it? Yeah, I definitely will, because it's the Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
It was something different, innovative that I adored, and I still to this day adore the thought that was put into it. Because, I mean, to plan something like that isn't just an overnight type of, like, standing in the shower going, yeah, let's put a cage over top of everybody, put them into pods, and just make sure that there's steel and everything around, and, oh, crap, I got soap in my eyes, but, hey, maybe we'll use that as a spot in the match, okay? No. This is something that took a lot of time and a lot of planning, and I'm happy that it came to fruition and that it's continuing on, as opposed to some of the other pay-per-views that have seemingly stopped and ended. King of the Ring.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a little rant there. I think that WWE needs to bring back the King of the Ring in its original style and format of an entire night of matches to crown a King of the Ring. Seriously, people love that. You can't tell me that your workers nowadays are not at the same caliber that Bret Hart was, or Stone Cold was, or any of those guys were back then when the King of the Ring was first happening and first a thing. These guys have probably, if not more, that they can bring to these matchups. So WWE, please do that. Please bring back the King of the Ring in its originality.
What about Great Balls of Fire?
Yeah, we don't need it. There's nothing gimmick about it, right? It's just a name for a pay-per-view, right? I if it's just a name for a pay-per-view, I don't care if it comes or goes. WWE over the last 50 years could have named every minor pay-per-view a different name, and it wouldn't matter. But if you're going to, like, the Royal Rumble, it's a gimmick pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't change that, and you need to continue that, right? Yeah. Same with King of the Ring. I mean, they kind of stopped doing, the way that it was classic, and I think that that's a real shame, right? But something like Vengeance or Great Balls of Fire, anything like that, whatever. It's not a gimmick associated to the name.
And the problem, or I was going to get a little bit with that, is that, when we did that the last time, I think, whoever designed the marquee and the poster, I think was a little juvenile. And when they heard Great Balls of Fire, they took that literally, because that's essentially
there's an entire phallus.
That's essentially what we had on the poster. We had we had flaming male genitalia on the poster. It's like, wow, you totally missed the boat on that one. But oh boy! But
they definitely hit the boat.
Oh Jesus!
And then what happened? The boat sank.
Yeah, very abruptly.
Yeah.
All right, man. You know what? Let's. What do we got here? You know what? Let's hear briefly from our friends over at thechairshot.com, and then let's come back with our showstopper segment for this week.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
All right, guys, let us get to our showstopper segment for this week. All right, Karl, since you came up with the run of this week here, I'll let you kind of introduce the topic and get us rolling on this one, because this is an interesting one.
Yeah, I thought it was too, and this is kind of coming and stemming from AEW. This past week, they had I don't know if it was legit or storyline, but Cody Rhodes got injured. No, I do believe that it was legit, actual rotator cuff tear. But that's kind of where I'm getting at with this. We keep hearing about injury, and it's just storyline, but then we hear about legitimate injury and we just think it's storyline. So have we fallen into a type of a boy who cried wolf mentality when it comes to hearing about injuries that happened? Does it become a matter of we really don't care because we just continue to hear about storyline injury when we should maybe actually be concerned about somebody who's legitimately injured? Joe, throw it over to you.
And you know what, Karl? This issue goes beyond just injuries. This stems over into character and kayfabe as well. A big couple of this, you know, we've touched on this several times with the social media aspect. When it comes to the stuff on social media, I will just say shut up. When it comes to spilling the stuff on social media, just stop it. You're compromising your business. And then these little sideshows and stuff that happen to it, even sometimes on commentary, these guys they're cannibalizing their own product by bringing this kind of stuff up. It's just shut up. Just let it play out. You know what? If an injury has happened, this is supposed to be perceived as a professional combative sport. Injuries are going to happen. Shut up when it comes to the injuries. They should be kind of happening, and then it gets too weird. It's not like back in the old days when an injury would happen. You know, then, you know, whether it be your Shane Douglases or whatever, you know, it would actually, you know, play up the injury. They would put a cast on or something like that. Those days, I mean, just that stuff is completely compromised because we're spilling our guts too much about we're peeling back the curtain too much when it comes to that stuff. And it's one thing for us to kind of bring that up once it's already out there. That's not our fault that it's already been put out there and we're just talking about it. But at that level, I mean, we got to keep that stuff under better wraps. So I mean, again, that's just kind of the old school wrestling fan coming out in me. I know that seemingly these newer wrestlers and stuff don't seem to give a damn about that aspect of it anymore, and it's a shame because I think it really does take away from the allure of what should be going on because we know too much. But again, you know, dude, I mean, this is a great topic because it can stem off in so many different directions.
It definitely can. I'm going to stem off into another little direction here. You talk about everybody that's going and putting everything out onto social media. I think where things stem from that is the need for them to get over. And everybody is on social media. So if everyone is on social media, it's not like back in the day when, like, you know, Bam Bam Bigelow, he could get over just by being the gimmick inside of that ring and going to the back or coming out from the back, yep. Right? He could build that and get it all from there, right? And I think a lot of what's happening today, because there is so many social media stars, mm-hmm. Right? You got so many YouTube stars, so many, you know, Twitter celebrities and all of this different stuff. With all of that's going on, these wrestlers aren't getting the same notoriety as others are. So they're sitting there going, well, if I put myself out there onto social media and everybody sees me for who I am and what I am and what's going on, right? I think that's where a lot of that comes from. So people are putting themselves out there in that type of respect because they feel if they don't, they'll be forgotten. And John, how you doing, buddy? And
then part of the problem again there too, especially say to throw out a weird example. I mean, he's not with the company anymore, but I don't even know if this actually happened, but it's a reference I've always made. You know, say at the height of when Rusev or Miro, whatever you want to call him, when he was super heel, and then on social media you see him mowing his lawn in a Speedo, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, I know you want to kind of get yourself out there, but it totally compromises what you're trying to accomplish with your character in wrestling.
Yes.
You know, and you know, typically it's interesting, Karl, because in, say, like going back to like when Andre was still around, you know, there were a lot of photos and stuff of stuff taken behind the scenes, but it was all kind of kept under wraps. A lot of it's coming out now, you know, where we see like them playing cards behind the scenes, or, you know, everybody kind of just hanging out together at the beach or something like that. But at the time, if those photos were taken, it was just kept between the talents, and then it didn't make it out to the public.
Exactly right. And I mean, like you said, like, I mean, you talk about the whole Rusev thing, right? Rusev going out there and in his Speedo mowing his lawn.
I don't even know if that actually happened. I'm just using that as a reference.
It did. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, or around the pool or something like that. Yeah. Like there was like, but you've seen Rusev in a Speedo. When Rusev is supposed to be this towering brute heel, to see him prancing around with a martini in his hand in poolside kind of takes away a little bit from it, right? Bit, yeah. And and I mean, with that as well, now we come to a situation of boy crying wolf. Mm-hmm. So we've got these people that have been storyline injured, written off TV for a little bit, but then a week later, we're seeing them rock climbing or on a trampoline or one of those trampoline parks or, you know, like different stuff like that. We're seeing them out doing things when, oh my God, he just broke his leg. His leg is broken. He's going to be down and out for 6 months. But we see him walking.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's,
Yeah, it's enough to make my head explode. I mean, just it's, you know, an example in the WWE. I mean, with Bray Wyatt, we killed him by lighting him on fire. I mean, again, like in professional wrestling, you know, typically, you know, I can suspend my disbelief to a certain extent. But at some point, you cross over into that line to where you're insulting your audience. Now, some people are going to be a little oblivious to it, or they're a little naive. People like Karl, myself, that ain't going to fly with us. And, you know, it's the type of thing where, you know, I can't remember if I said it on with our friends over at Love Wrestling, but I know I brought it up somewhere, that you need to be careful in these kind of spots, insulting your audience very subtly like this. If you are going to do that, then just completely go over the top and just directly insult your audience, because if you just kind of do it subtly like that, people like ourselves or people who are in a little bit in the know are going to be insulted. They're going to be like, you know, this is just stupid. Why am I going to watch this? I'm going to go watch something that doesn't, you know, make me feel like an idiot. Whereas, you know, at least if you're going to go that route, you know, have Vince like just do something where he just comes out and just calls you people idiots or something like that. You either got to go all the way over the top, or you got to respect people's intelligence, because people won't put up with it, especially these days.
And you bring up the Bray Wyatt thing with him being lit on fire. I think that definitely was that over the top.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I get it. It's a story. It's a television show. You're not really insulting my intelligence by, you know, kind of trying to say that, you know, he's been lit on fire. He's, you know, been burned, right? We get the same thing when we watch any horror movie.
Yeah.
Right? The main character of any horror movie always has something bad that's happened to him, whether he's been burned, whether he's been you know, dismembered somehow, whether he's, you know, scarred on the face or scarred somewhere else and then has to put a mask on or whatever, right? So there's always something that happens. So I can get behind something like that. But you're right. I mean, there are times where things have just like really insulted the intelligence. And I think one of the biggest things recently that's happened, and I believe we talked about it with Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle.
Oh,
right, with the foot stomp.
That was so ridiculous.
Right?
Oh my goodness!
Like now you're insulting my intelligence here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So.
And with that situation, I'm glad you brought up that particular one because I don't think we actually fully kind of addressed that one. These cameramen too. I mean, they're shooting this stuff every single week. If you're going to shoot something, don't aim it at their feet. And then you have Matt Riddle, who I mean, he's been around for long enough that he should have known. Hey, you know what? If I get kicked on my right foot, I should respond by then grabbing my right foot. He grabbed the wrong foot. So not only did they shoot it poorly, he reacted poorly, and then Bobby didn't even come close to even like he stomped his foot like a foot away from like just that. I mean, just the whole thing was botched, and and then we're supposed to watch that and go, yep, that's perfectly fine. Well, W just gets a pass because we know that they're just being stupid.
Oh, it was just Bobby Lashley though. Like, I mean, the guy's a beast, right? So, I mean, you don't even have to stomp on somebody's toes for them to hurt. He just has to stomp on the ground, and the vibrations alone are going to shoot, electricity over to whichever foot it needs to, and then that's going to be the foot that hurts, I guess. Maybe.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, I think to kind of bring this back full circle here, we're crying wolf. Yeah. Not us, but the wrestling world.
Yeah.
Every company seems to, at some point or another, they're just crying wolf with things, and the audience just isn't caring anymore. And it's really unfortunate, especially when you get a person that legitimately gets injured, and especially in the States, they don't have the same type of health insurance that we have in Canada. Yep. So they actually have to pay for all of their health insurance and any procedures and anything like that gets done. And then some people are nice enough that they set up like a GoFundMe, for these people to help them with their bills because, well, there's somebody that we've watched and grown up with and loved seeing and stuff like that. But after a while, people are going to, and it's even happening now, people are going, well, I'm not donating to that because, well,
it's fake. Yeah.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
And then you're gonna start having people that are going to be so desensitized to these fake injuries happening that something really devastating is going to happen, and some jackass is going to be looking at the TV going, "What is that? Raspberry jelly coming out of that guy's head?" No, right. he like actually ruptured his brain, or something like that. That's kind of a weird example, but just it's the type of thing again, like just in professional wrestling, like you just. In my opinion, I know not everybody agrees with me. I don't like it when these companies insult the intelligence of their fans, and this stuff is an example of that. And just it makes it, and especially for somebody coming into it fairly new that has some common sense in their head, is going to see this stuff and go, "This is stupid. I'm just going to go watch football."
Right.
So
yeah.
There's a reason why right now that the NFL, even the Super Bowl, got like, what was it, like 90 million viewers, and then professional wrestling maybe gets 2, maybe 3 if they spike a rating. That's a significant gap here, Karl.
It definitely is.
Right.
Definitely it is.
So just putting that out there. I mean, for people who like to even put them somewhat on the same level, I mean, it's not even the same stratosphere. So.
No.
So, will wrestling ever kind of get to that number? I mean, that's something really lightning would have to hit the antenna, I think. So
it would.
I would love to see it get to that level, but again, to bring it back to this, if we continue to insult people's intelligence, we will never get there.
Exactly.
So, all right, man. Well, I guess that about wraps up here for this week. But before we do go, I'll let you get some plugs out there.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked a little bit about our friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com. Go and check them out. Amazing merchandise over there. I'm wearing, as always, the Collar and Elbow brand fitted hat. And today I've actually got on my Collar and Elbow brand mirror hoodie. I love this hoodie. It's super comfortable, keeps me warm. It's fantastic, especially for these cold winters up in Canada. Go and check out colorandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code JKPodcast at the checkout, and you are going to get yourself a cool 10% off your entire purchase. And we have our friends over at fnxfit.com. Go and check out fnxfit.com as well if you need supplements, whether it's protein powder, whether it is a nighttime drink, whether it is super greens, whether it is a pill supplement, whatever is needed for you to get that extra push in your workout. Check out fnxfit.com. Use promo code TBTalkPod and you are going to get 15% off your entire purchase made there. Again, go and check out our friends at colorandelbowbrand.com, promo code JKPodcast, and our friends at fnxfit.com, promo code TBTalkPod.
There you go. And for myself, coming up this week for Turnbuckle Rewind, we were going to let people know on the show we were going to set up for, right? So it's a fun one. It's an interesting one. I think that people are going to enjoy it. We're going back to 2015 with the Ring of Honor, specifically a show called The Field of Honor, and we're talking a matchup between Kazuchika Okada and Roderick Strong. This is going to be an interesting one and a fun one to break down. I think people are really going to enjoy this match, so stay tuned for that.
Definitely. Lots of work is going into the production of this one, so I hope everybody is going to enjoy that. We'll give them a shout out as well. Our friends over at lovewrestling.ca. Go and check them out as well. They are all over social media. We have even plugged something for them. We put their YouTube page in our Facebook page, so go and check out our Facebook at TB Talk Pod, and there you are actually going to see a link to take you to their YouTube page over at Love Wrestling. Please go and check them out and make sure that you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell as well. Great show today, guys. Thank you very much. And you were the next person that we were going to be talking about here. We want everybody to go and follow our friend Ryan K. Bowman over at Sportskeeda. Just go to Google and look up Sportskeeda. Man, a wealth of knowledge and articles and everything over at Sportskeeda. Amazing place for you to go if you're looking for news, if you're looking for just really thought out, planned out, and amazingly written articles from, friends like our buddy here, Ryan K. Bowman. Go and check that out. And if there's a way that you can follow Ryan on Sportskeeda, make sure you do that so that every time he posts something, you're able to see it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do believe that they give that option on there to follow specific writers or not. So, and Ryan is definitely one that you want to follow. All right, Karl, that wraps up for this week, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
It's me. It's an honor to be the beat. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at hittingthemarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all our other shows. Yes, you can find that all at hittingthemarks.com.
Run.